Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the next presentation for the day is on the topic Breaking Barriers, Building Trust, Innovations in Data and Technology for MENA's Financial Crime Compliance. And this will be presented by Mr. Peter Caisley, who is the UK and EMEA Financial Crime Lead for Aptitude Global. So to quickly introduce Peter is the UK and EMEA KYC, AML, and fraud lead for Aptitude Global, a specialist data solutions provider delivering data-driven solutions in financial services and other regulated industries. As an ex-Ernst& Young and Accenture financial crime consultant, Peter is a specialist in AML, data and tech, policy and process improvement and transformation. Prior to joining Aptitude, Peter advised and led on multiple financial crime technology transformations and KYC programs for global Tier 1 and Tier 2 banks. A very warm welcome, Peter. It's great to be having you on board, and I'll definitely leave the stage for your presentation. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. Is the presentation live?
Absolutely fine.
Absolutely.
Presentation, yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, thank you, Anil, for the introduction, and thank you, IDR, for hosting. It's fantastic to be with you today. My name is Peter Caisley. I'm the UK and EMEA Financial Crime Lead for Aptitude Global. If you're unfamiliar with what we do, definitely check out our website. But in short, we are a specialist data solutions provider within regulated industries. We are data specialists. We have a heritage in data governance, fraud, and financial crime. And we've delivered major transformation programs for some of the largest banks in the world. Okay, so a brief overview of what we'll cover today. What is the trust problem? What are the data-led solutions to this? A deeper dive into entity resolution, and what are the proven benefits with a data-led approach? Okay, let's get started. So for the next 10 minutes or so, I want to talk to you about trust. Trust, something we all value and strive for, but what is the significance in the context of AML and data? AML and fraud controls are, of course, essential for fighting financial crime and the related illicit activities. However, AML also plays a fundamental part in the bigger picture of enabling businesses to flourish and economies to grow. Why? Because when sufficient AML controls are in place, this can be evidenced and explained, it establishes trust. Trust of your customers, for others to trust you, and it paves the way for wider investment and trade. So how are effective AML and fraud processes, evidence and explainability established? Data. Data and taking a data-led approach is the foundation for compliance, which is the foundation for growth. The MENA region is currently in a phase of huge growth opportunities, but also has several AML challenges or barriers to this, which are essentially data problems. So what are these key challenges? Well, firstly, there are diverse and complex AML regulatory frameworks. There is a lack of regulatory standardization across the MENA region, with over 90% of MENA regions having different AML regulations. This is not to say that the regulations or the regulators are in themselves bad or at fault, but what this does mean is that what data needs collecting does vary from region to region, which leads to inconsistent KYC customer records and ultimately challenges to the cross-border business. Secondly, there's no single source of truth. There's no golden source for customer information. As you'll all be aware, although many registries exist, there is wide and inconsistent variety of information that each registry may have on a customer. Over a third of MENA regulators feel that even when the data is provided, it is unreliable. Having the data is not enough. It's being able to trust the data which counts here. Third, the problem keeps growing. Obviously, this is not a MENA-specific problem, it's global. However, it's still worth mentioning here. AML and fraud is not static. Criminals will continue to get more and more sophisticated to stay one step ahead of regulators. And fourth, as we heard about yesterday and we've touched on already this morning, there's a general consensus that CDD are both customer onboarding and in life is overcomplicated, with the main challenges being the lack of third-party data incorporation. So to summarize, there is a wide and complex variety of data which needs to be collected, evidenced and maintained. This data is difficult to obtain, and when it is obtained, there is a lack of trust in that data. So this may seem like a grim, a challenging situation. However, the good news is that innovations in data and technology can not only address these challenges now, but can do so in efficient, reliable, and cost-effective ways. So just to pause for a second to ensure we're all on the same page, what do we mean by a data-led approach? Broad stroke, Aptitude defines a data-led approach as using data and technology to build highly automated and efficient solutions, automating very manual processes to significantly reduce operational costs and create efficiencies. Plus, there are many other various non-functional benefits, such as scalability, reliability, and accuracy, etc. So what are these data solutions? So I'd like to show you these in terms of how they support what I call the AML data trust journey. What is this? Well, to greatly simplify AML into data terms, when it comes to knowing your customers, you need to firstly get the data on them. You need to be able to trust the data you have on them. Using this data, you need to determine whether or not you trust your customers, and to essentially have that ticket as if it were to do business with them and wider afield, you need to be able to evidence this trust. And as I said earlier, establishing this trust will open the door to economic growth. Okay, so adding in the challenges that we've just discussed, this sets the scene for the data solutions, which are third-party MENA data sources, data quality transformation, which we just heard about in the previous talk, explainable entity resolution, and a customer 360 view. All of these subsequently build upon each other, and as you can see, combined, cover and address the full length of the AML data trust journey. Okay, so to give a high-level overview of each of these, starting with third-party MENA data sources. So this is boosting your internal customer records by integrating trusted third-party sources from specialist local providers. This can enable access to previously unobtainable data, such as customer profiles in local languages, ownership information, sanctions, PEPs, royal family connections. Reliability of these sources is often strong enough now to be considered by AML policies to satisfy both the identification and validation requirements, therefore, in many cases, bypassing the need for any customer outreach. Data quality transformation. Just going to touch on this briefly today, but this confirms essentially whether or not the data is fit for purpose for any downstream use. In this case, we're talking about entity resolution. So we have the data, we know it's fit for purpose, but can we trust it's for our customer? If there are multiple data sources that appear to be for a customer, entity resolution answers the question, are they actually for the same customer? Explainable entity resolution is having the rationale and the evidence presented for why multiple sources have or have not been resolved. And this lack of black boxing, which is seen in many places, allows excellent incorporation into AML evidence-based approaches. As many of you will be, I'm sure, very familiar, automating data collection is already relatively common and typically within the risk appetites of banks and financial institutions. But there's still common reservation towards automating the updating of customer records and internal systems with this collected data due to either not trusting the data, trusting the data format, or general fear or concern that something may break or go wrong. Entity resolution is key here, as it allows us to trust this third-party data that's been brought in and trust that it's been done correctly and it is fit for purpose for integrating, and that automated integration into populating internal systems and customer records, as well as laying the groundwork for any future move towards perpetual KYC. So to briefly touch on what Aptitude have done in this space already, we have automated entity resolution processes to auto-validate corporate structures and ownership, which is a particularly complicated use case. We've confidently matched customers against various lists, PEPs, sanctions, royal families, and we've been able to schedule periodic or perpetual refreshes of KYC data. Okay, finally, Customer 360. Again, just to touch on briefly today, in short, this is using Aptitude's graph-powered data intelligence platform to create an integrated 360 view of your customer. What's worth noting here is this also enables a full transformation from static to dynamic risk management, and it future-proofs your data foundation. So hopefully that gives a taster, very brief taster of what can be done with AML and data. And of course, please reach out to myself or via our website if you'd like to discuss anything further, or if you'd like any demonstrations. But for the time remaining, I'd like to focus in more on explainable entity resolution and explain and introduce one of our partners, Sensing. Sensing provide the best-in-class explainable entity resolution software API, which covers a wide variety of trusted sources. And what is key for MENA is that includes supporting data in local MENA languages. Sensing, combined with Aptitude's data intelligence platform, creates a particularly powerful solution for the current challenges and cultural settings in MENA, and ultimately for establishing trust. So to give some examples of common challenges AML teams will face, as you can see in the bottom left of the slide there, is Khalid Rashid. In the CRM platform, the same person as the name in Arabic in the sanctions list. So this highlights not just alphabet to alphabet or language to language comparison, but cross-alphabet comparison. Again, our Redbird shipping agency in Bahrain, the same company, slightly different name, but in Sweden. As you're aware, traditional approaches to answering these questions would require large manual effort with varying success, but via Sensing and Aptitude could be answered reliably and almost instantaneously. And as touched on earlier, this combined approach gives highly accurate, trustworthy, and explainable matches between your internal and third-party data, which increases efficiencies and reduces costs. So it's clear a data-led approach can significantly improve efficiency, and through reducing outreach and inaccuracies, such as through human error, improve customer satisfaction. But what quantifiable benefits can it bring? A recent example for Aptitude I'd like to introduce you to is where we've applied these data-led solutions at a remediation program for one of our clients, a global tier 1 bank. 75% reduction in CDD operational costs and over $125 million saved in cost avoidance simply attests to the power and effectiveness of data-led solutions expertly applied in AML. So, to summarize, data is the foundation for compliance and economic growth. Data-led innovations are ready for use now and are key for overcoming the challenges currently faced in MENA. Overcoming these challenges with data establishes trust and therefore opens up wide opportunities for investment and trade. Aptitude, we are experts in data and experts in delivering best-in-class data-led solutions. If you'd like to learn more about Aptitude's data intelligence platform, as I said before, please reach out and we can give you a personalized demonstration of our solution. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Peter, for the presentation. Of course, it gives me a new perception of things as to how the solutions of Aptitude will be able to cater to the growing demand or the developments in MENA with respect to AML and fraud, right? So thanks a lot. We would definitely look forward to be associating with you for our future initiatives as well. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you, Anil.
Have a nice day.
You too.